Hello, this is Fatima Fadaunsi, and I'll be talking about the analysis of the UK banking sector using business analytics. This is the outline of content. So I'm talking about the implementation of business analytics in the banking sector, the data collection and gathering process, the descriptive statistics, data visualization, correlation, multiple regression, among others. Introduction to business analytics. Business analytics was coined, especially analytics, from the Greek word analyticos, and it means the business analytics is the transformation of data, statistical analysis, IT, into actions through analysis and insights to help managers and organizations gather and gain insights about their business operations. Some of the benefits of business analytics are better risk management, enhanced bottom line productivity, such as profitability and customer satisfaction. But it also has its limitations. According to Bloomberg, business analytics is in its emerging state and it is only used within business units, not across entire organizations. Another limitation is its high implementation costs. Another implementation also is the skill gaps and talent shortages. The implementation of business analytics in the banking sector. I'll talk about some of the importance of business analytics in the banking sector right now. So, one importance is to increase the ability of monitoring regulatory compliance, to detect and prevent fraud more efficiently, to assess profitability across customer and products, among others. And implementation of business analytics in the banking sector is to predict and prevent credit fraud. That's a general implementation. Next slide. So this is an overview of the banking sector in the UK. And in 2024, the UK banking industry sector made 132.5 billion. And the UK is one of the world's most developed banking sectors. Canary Wharf is a financial hub with many bank offices. Some of the key players are HSBC, Barclays, Lloyds, and NatWest. A key external driver is the business capital expenditure and business confidence index are both positive in the UK. And this is the data collection and gathering process templates where I just talked about how I use 10 banks and I use 7 financial variables to analyze the financial performance of the 10 banks. Next slide. The next slide, data visualization. So in this slide, I'm going to talk about the first one, the disparity among Bank of Scotland and HSBC. Like HSBC and Bank of Scotland, according to this chart, are high. Meanwhile, Metro Bank is low, and this is the return on assets. So reasons, some of the reasons are the bank size and market position. So large banks like HSBC and Bank of Scotland benefit from economies of scale. So it leads to more efficient operations and higher asset utilization. Another factor is risk management practices. Strong risk management enhances profitabilities, and studies have shown this according to the references that I kept. The next the next variable is return on shareholder funds. So the gap in return on shareholder funds between Bank of Scotland and the cooperative bank is explained also by the bank size. As I said, bigger banks would have like more economies of scale, and they would benefit from diversified portfolios and robust risk frameworks. Another factor is capital structure and funding costs. Bank of Scotland, with diverse funding sources, maintains lower costs. Meanwhile, Cooperative Bank has faced capital adequacy in the past. I referenced some of the articles that Cooperative Bank brought out. In 2014, they had financial issues, and this has led to higher funding costs. I'll move on to the next variable, which is operating profits. HSBC has the highest chart, why NatWest is low. And I'll say this because a reason why is global diversification. So HSBC's presence in Asia provides exposure to high growth markets. Meanwhile, NatWest is UK focused, so it's more vulnerable to domestic economic fluctuation. Another factor is cost management. HSBC has controlled expenses effectively, while NatWest faces cost pressures. I'll move on to the next variable, that is the profits after tax. So the profit after tax, the HSBC has the highest charts, meanwhile Metro Bank has the lowest. And I'll explain this by saying it's also the global diversification and the big scale of HSBC, sorry. So because HSBC operates across multiple regions, it mitigates risks that way. Meanwhile, Metro Bank is also UK focused, so it's a challenger bank. It lacks international exposure. Another reason would be cost management and efficiency. I'll move on to the next slide. Sorry. So that's descriptive. So descriptive, I will just talk about the mean, standard deviation, and sum. So this is a general overview of all banks. So the mean profit margin is 10.06, as you can see here, percent. So that indicates that on average UK banks generate a moderate level of profit. And I'll move on to the standard deviation. The standard deviation is 22.55. So that shows high variability, meaning some banks are highly profitable while others struggle. Then the sum shows that there's all the banks have 1.59 points. The total turnover for all the banks is 1.592132, and this shows that the industry has a big and massive scale. I would talk about like individual banks, the highest banks that I have on my chart, HSBC and Lloyds. I'll just briefly dissect them. So I'll talk about just two variables, profit margin and operating profit. So profit margin, HSBC has a higher mean profit margin 25.10 than Lloyd's, which is 15.68, indicating greater efficiency in converting revenue into profit. Meanwhile, in the operating profit sector, HSBC's mean, which is 12.013 million, is nearly twice of Lloyd's. That is at 6 million. So this demonstrates stronger earnings on the side of HSBC. And yeah, so I'm going to move on to the next slide, and that's correlation. Sorry. So correlation. So on the correlation charts, I can see there's three strongest relationships. So I drew a chart, sorry, I graphed a chart out, a scatter plot, to explain this relationship. The first relationship is perfect, is a perfect strong relationship. It stands at 0.938. So it's a very strong positive correlation between return on shareholder funds and return on assets. So this shows efficient asset utilization benefits shareholder returns. So the next one is the relationship 0.910 between profit margin and return on assets. So this shows that is higher profit margin. That higher profit margin significantly boosts return on assets. So any positive impact that one of the variables have would affect the other one. That's why they are positive. And I'll just talk about the low one, the low 0.2 factor that I have. So that means that the 0.2 factor in profit after tax and total debt ratio, that means any event that might affect the profit after tax would not affect total debt ratio. So there's no relationship there, it's negative. And next, I'll move on to the next slide, which is my regression. So under my regression, I have R square, which shows the accuracy of the old data set. So my accuracy is 0.8023. So this is a strong model fit. This is strong, and this shows that my financial variables significantly influence my bank's profitability. So the next thing I'll talk about is the intercept. So that's the return on the intercept, that's minus 5.1178, and then my coefficient, those are my variables. So so this shows my variables show the 0.661 is positive, the 9.200 is also positive. I'm going to move on straight to my p-value. My p-value, I have three significant p-value because they are lower than 0.05 or like or equals to. So 0.0.12 is I. The rest are quite low, but my R square is still, and this is the equation. My R square is accurate. Is showing like I'm close to one, so I'm mostly accurate. So yeah, I'm going to move on to the next slide, which is key findings and recommendation. So there's I found some key findings. So which means, for example, banks with effective risk management achieve higher ROA and return on shareholder funds. A recommendation of mine would be to implement AI-driven risk assessment model and strengthen regulatory compliance. This is my executive summary, which just says like banks should implement AI into like the bank's system and just business analytics basically to generate more profits. Thank you. These are my references. I have 3 pages of them. Yeah, thank you very much.